So the official trailer for Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny came out yesterday. Don't know how I felt about it. There's really a lot to unpack with the whole thing. It's a massive package that's coming in here because we have leaks that have, under my assumption, have been confirmed. We have a lead actor who's in his 80s trying to be a protagonist who's in his 30s. We've got a lot of CGI. And we also have a little story near the end of this video of an actor who was in place, set in stone almost, to play the role of Indiana Jones and was threatened and scared to do it by Harrison Ford himself. So stick around for that. That should be an interesting one. In terms of the trailer, I watched it. It was meh. That was about as much as I can say about it. CGI was too much. Definitely tried to do the Star Wars Force Awakens thing where they played on the heartstrings by playing the old music and everyone that's an NPC was supposed to go, wow, wasn't that just amazing? But it wasn't. It didn't feel like that at all. As I said, the CGI looked terrible. There's shots of Indy when he's on a horse. Terrible. Absolutely garbage. There's shots of him jumping from, like, you know, these tiny little cars to another tiny little car. And I guess the thing that stood out the most was the de-aging look, which was quite interesting. And this kind of plays into the idea of the leaks and the rumors that have been, I guess, around for the last year and a half, 2 years. Coming predominantly from Doomcock over on YouTube. He was trending last night. Doomcock was right, was trending. And I guess the main rumor coming from Doomcock was this movie was going to contain time travel, which doesn't appeal to me, doesn't appeal to me at all. But what appeals to me even less is the fact that Phoebe Waller-Bridge was going to be the protagonist. She was going to be the Rey Skywalker or Rey Palpatine or whatever that garbage character was. She was going to be that type of character in new Indiana Jones movie. And I think we have seen it in a couple of scenes just out of the very sparse and very vague trailer that came out yesterday, where she threw in some quips and made him look like a bit of an asshole, a bit of an idiot. And that's to be expected with Disney. That is 100% to be expected with a Kathleen Kennedy production. And she's got her hands all over this thing, and it's quite scary because she's destroying everything from our childhood. She's destroying franchises one after another, and it's horrible to say. And if you go into the comments, I thought the comments would be turned off on the main Lucas YouTube channel, but they weren't. And I went in there, but they felt very bawdy. They felt very like, oh my god, the music was amazing. Very heartwarming to see Harrison Ford back in the role, doing what he does best. And there was very little negative comments over there, which does lead people to believe that there might be some pernicious behavior at play. And if we jump over here, we'll see that it wasn't just Doomcock that was, you know, espousing these rumors. There was a lot of mainstream media pumping it out there as well, which is quite interesting when you think about it. And in the aftermath of these rumors, we had the director James Mangold come out and directly go after these YouTubers. It was insanity. I guess the main crux of the rumors were that there was going to be time travel and that there was as much as 6 endings shot for this movie, which is understandable because we've seen what Kathleen Kennedy did in the past with Han Solo. Just shut it down after a full shoot and then brought in a new director and started recutting it. And that movie's not good. That movie's not good at all. I don't think any of the new era Disney Star Wars movies are anywhere near good. Someone mentioned to me recently about Andor. You should give it a watch. I'm done. I'm done with Star Wars. I was done after The Force Awakens, and I don't think I'll ever go back there. I actually watched the original trilogy just a few weeks ago, despecialized edition. Absolutely perfection, beautifulness. And I mean, if you want Star Wars, if you want that fix, just go back and watch the old stuff, because forget about Disney, forget about Kathleen Kennedy, forget about Rey Skywalker, Rey Palpatine. I didn't even know that she became a Palpatine until recently. I saw some video about it and I was like, really? That's where they went with it? I thought she was Han Solo's daughter. I thought she was Luke Skywalker's daughter. No, she's Palpatine's daughter. I was like, oh my god. Whatever. So mainstream outlets are covering this story. It's not just YouTubers or people on social media. Mail Online say that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is seen on set of Indiana Jones 5 for the first time as she drags Harrison Ford out of a ditch. Of course she's dragging him out of the ditch, and there's no way that he could be dragging her out of a ditch. Already that's a red flag. Dragging him out of a ditch in Sicily beside a boat full of Roman gladiators as rumors emerge that the sequel will feature time travel. It's like, huh? I watched Crystal Skull recently. I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I remember when it originally came out thinking that it was absolute garbage. I went back and watched it. It's not the most terrible thing on the planet. I'll say that. The first 45 minutes of that movie is quite good. Then it gets very CGI filled and very out of touch with what we know as Indiana Jones. It fell down halfway through the movie, but it wasn't the most terrible movie ever. And it did come at a time when we weren't getting beaten over the head by this woke bullshit culture, and when identity politics wasn't front and center of every premise that we actually loved in terms of our pop culture. It just wasn't there. So There's that to be said about it. I can't imagine where this one's going to go. The trailer was quite vague. It specifically didn't show us anything. We don't know anything about it. So that leads us to believe that the rumors are in fact completely and utterly true, given that there's supposedly 6 different endings. So basically, I think the trailer's gone out there. They're going to gauge what's happening. We have a lot of these rumors, like these pictures here. Again, she's helping him. These Roman gladiators. What is that? You know, and we have some guy here saying, I heard a couple of months ago, I couldn't believe it, but someone just confirmed, and I feel like I need to say this out loud. Indiana Jones is a time travel movie. Wow. That, like, I don't know what to say to that. Looking at these pictures and seeing how vague and how sparse the trailer was with any sort of a like coherent storyline, it does lead you to believe that, you know, the de-aging effect. I heard some people say that that could be Indiana Jones when he's young as like a flashback, or it could be the fact that the 80-year-old Indiana Jones is actually in the room with young Indiana Jones. And if we go there, I don't know what this is. As of now, you're kind of going, why are you making an Indiana Jones movie with an 80-year-old man where we have to use the crutch of CGI to make it look somewhat real? Why are we doing that? No one's asking. Who's asking for an Indiana Jones movie? If it's a reboot, a hard reboot where we bring in a new actor. And this actually leads me to what I mentioned earlier on. Have a look at this. This is from July 16th. Chris Pratt says that Harrison Ford scared him out of the Indiana Jones role. Now, there was talks about Chris Pratt becoming Indiana Jones for a long time. And of course, you're going to have a large amount of people that responded to this with, no, there's only one Indiana Jones. But listen, look at where we are now. We have an 80-year-old man. We got CGI. Would it have been a better option to have rebooted this with a very likable and a very competent actor? And I can see Chris Pratt in the role of Indiana Jones. Would it have been better to just do the hard reboot and we would have been over that hurdle already? And we would have had a new Indiana Jones. Would you be more excited for a Chris Pratt Indiana Jones 5 movie? Complete new reboot. Of course, I would have brought back Spielberg and Lucas. I wouldn't have went with a different director. Would you have been happy with that? And it does lead to the question as well, where Harrison Ford is supposed to be this grumpy old man. All he's ever talked about is how much he hates the role of Han Solo and he would never want to go back. And he begged George Lucas to take him out of the role many a times, as far back as 81 and 82. He begged and he begged and he begged. But it's like, dude, you still showed up and you made Force Awakens. And you correlate that over to where we are now with an 80-year-old Harrison Ford playing the role once again. Doesn't look great. Doesn't look like it's going to be a success. I think that this film will be a failure. And you listen to quotes that Chris Pratt mentioned when he was asked about taking on the mantle of Indiana Jones, and he said, listen, all I know is that I saw a quote from Harrison Ford. I don't know if it was really him or not, but it was enough to scare me. That was like, when I die, Indiana Jones dies. He said that on a podcast. So apparently Harrison Ford was on a podcast and he said, when I die, Indiana Jones dies, which is a little bit arrogant, but I can understand it because it is such a beloved role. But this does offer up a very interesting question. Would we have been better off with a hard reboot with Chris Pratt as Indiana Jones? Or are you happy with the 80-year-old CGI-filled, Phoebe Waller-Bridge led feminism, identity politics, woke, time-traveling Indiana Jones that it looks like we're going to get? Let me know your thoughts down below. Maybe subscribe, share, do all that type of stuff. Cheers.